I'm Surya Kolluri. I'm with Bank of America. I'm a managing director there, and I lead our thought leadership efforts within the retirement business. As human beings, we are living longer and longer lives. So for example, a baby born today has a 1 in 3 chance of living up till 100 years old. And if it's a female baby, there's a 1 in 2 chance that she will live until 100 years old, which means that as a society, as companies, as individuals and families, we need to rethink these longer lives. So if, for example, somebody passes away at 65 or 70 or 80, it's one thing. But if you're going to live until 100 years old and you retire at 65, you've got 35 years after that to figure out. And so there are all kinds of opportunities and challenges within these longer lives that has a public policy implication, that has a human rights implication. The way to think about implications of longevity is I will ask you to think about a triangle. The base of the triangle is the longer lives that we're living. Let's call it lifespan. So we need to understand how long are we actually going to be living as human beings in this century. The other leg of the triangle is, let's call it wealth span. So if the bottom of the triangle is lifespan, the other axis is wealth span, which is, will my money last as long as I'm alive? Because it's going to be a bad situation if you're going to live until 100 and your money runs out at 85. But there's an important third leg of the triangle, and we'll call that health span, meaning that if you're going to live until 100 years old and you have cognitive decline at age 85, do you want to be alive with no cognition and no sense of who you are for 15 years after that? So the most important implication is to have these 3 legs of the triangle in balance: lifespan, wealth span, and health span. One of the first things that would come to mind perhaps if you think about longer lives and the elderly is stigma associated with aging. And so if somebody is going to be productive and agile and can contribute to society even in their later years, how can we embrace that and include the elderly population into productive society than distancing themselves? So that's one aspect. The second aspect is, how do we design the infrastructure of society to accommodate this population that's older? So for example, if you go into a supermarket, are all the signs in small font? Or all the products up above? And can you redesign a car, stairs walking up to and down a subway? How do you rethink product design in such a way that it includes the elderly as well? And then finally, from an economics perspective, one of the things that automatically comes to mind is, will our entitlements programs be sustainable as more and more folks go into the retirement phase and live longer and longer? Can we afford it? I would like to, from a human rights perspective, invert that to say it's an opportunity to engage people in productive lifestyle and companies creating products and services to serve them. In fact, in our analysis and research, we estimate the size of that longevity economy to be $7 trillion. If you think about reintegrating older workers into the workforce, there might again be a concern about the lump of labor fallacy, which is, will they displace younger workers coming in? Rather, we should be thinking about it as growing the pie to be a bigger pie of the economy. One of the revolutionary things that is going to be happening is how technology intersects with aging. So imagine, we can imagine somebody getting older being frail, but imagine that they're surrounded by technology. Imagine they have access to an exoskeleton, which is a skeleton they wear outside their body. All of a sudden, you're not elderly and frail, but rather you have energy and capability because you have an exoskeleton helping you. Imagine they're guided by artificial intelligence in terms of directions. If you want to go to the supermarket, the AI guides you there and back. Imagine being surrounded by virtual reality so that you can communicate with your friends and family in a very realistic way. All these things are going to transform how we age. So technology is going to revolutionize how we can live healthy longer.